Well, hello there, fellow floater sufferers. This is Tony Paget with an update on my next step on getting these dang floaters out of my eyes. Um, as you recall, the last video I made, I visited Dr. Johnson in Dallas, Texas. Spent the money to take a flight, to rent a car, to pay for the procedures, and I was pretty happy with it. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty decent. Unfortunately, about a week after I came back, I noticed many more coming back in. It wasn't a remnants, I would say, of small little, pieces from his work. It was new. There were new ones. So I decided to go to Dr. Ross's office here in Arizona, the Global Retina Institute, and give her a try because whether she has the ag laser and she does a pretty good job of it. Dr. Johnson's been doing this for years, and that's all he does. So he gets everything. So I thought, well, there's some bothering me, but let's give that a try and see if it clears it up. So did a pretty decent job, pretty good. But then a week later, I started noticing more, and right back in my middle of my vision, not on the periphery, sitting right there. And I'm going to have a new job in about a month's time. And I met my manager, and while I was talking to him, I got distracted from this floaters in my eyes, especially my right eye. My left eye's got him, but the right eye is the most. And I remember what Dr. Ross said to me when I went last for the ag laser. She said, I think if this doesn't work for you, you need to think about a full vitrectomy because you got plenty of years of life ahead of you. Why suffer or get distracted through this? The vitrectomies come a long way. She uses a 25 gauge tools. The higher the number, the smaller the tools that go into your eye. So they're less invasive than what they used to be. So the healing time is faster. And in fact, she said about a week or 10 days later, your vision should be back to normal. There'll just be a gas bubble that has to go away. And by that time, it'll be away. So I have an appointment scheduled for next Tuesday. Today's Friday. Next Tuesday, 6:45 in the morning, to have the procedure done, and I'm going to get this thing, these lasers, these floaters out of my eyes once and for all. They are apparently, according to her staff, they do vitrectomy probably about once a week for floaters, and they get good results. So far, they haven't had any bad outcomes, really serious outcomes, unless there was another pre-existing condition that might make things more complicated, and probably she wouldn't recommend a full vitrectomy if there were issues. Of course, there could be a retinal tear, and of course, there could be a retinal detachment. There could be something that could go blind, but those risks I can reading up. I think nowadays with the technology are a lot lower. So I've decided to move on. Now, the only other concern and worry I have is, well, I'm going to get cataracts, which means I'm going to have to get another surgery to take the lens out and put a new artificial lens into the eye. That is almost always going to happen with a full vitrectomy, and so be it. Now, some of you may be asking, well, why not a floater-only vitrectomy? I think it's called a core vitrectomy. Dr. Ross won't do that. She says that's the causes of when people see a frill, like a line that comes into your eye. And also it leaves vitreous back that could cause floaters in the future. I feel pretty good about it. I do feel a bit nervous. I do kind of once in a while going, what the heck am I doing? Why am I going to have this surgery in my eye? Oh, maybe my floaters aren't that bad. Oh, I look out the window, go outside. Oh, no. Damn it. I need this done. Driving's a pain. I look down at the speedometer, look up. Oh, I just did it. Here comes the debris. Here comes the garbage patch of the Pacific Ocean in my eye. So wish me luck. I will tape as much as I can during key moments of my journey with the vitrectomy. I hope I don't come back with bad issues, but I think it's worth the risk. Ask me after the surgery. Okay, I'll let you know how it goes, and be back later. Thank you. Hello, fellow floater sufferers. This is Tony Paget. It is Tuesday, January 25th, 2022, with an update on the vitrectomy surgery that you can see I had on my right eye. Just had it this morning, and I will say overall, I'm impressed how quick this happens, and how routine and step by step, in and out kind of thing. It was very, very interesting. So I want to give you a quick run through of what happened in my case so that you know what to expect. At least I went to an outpatient surgery center, and what's happened here in Arizona. Probably be fairly same to you. I checked in at 5:45 a.m., did all the paperwork, yada, 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 checked temperature, checked the weight, etc. Then was asked to go to a change room to change into a gown down to my underwear. Very loose gown. I like that because it gave me a little bit of comfort. And so that was kind of routine. Got down on the bed. They, another person comes in, asks my name. You'll have this have several times if you're doing surgery. What's your name? What's your date of birth? Spell your last name. Blah blah blah. What surgery are you having today? The doctor finally showed up. She asked me almost the same types of questions. She put a X on top of my right eye to make sure they know it's definitely the right eye that they're going to treat. And asked a few more questions, and great. They did a EKG on me. They took my temperature again. The anesthesiologist came in, asked me some questions. And this time, this time, for me, I decided to be fully out, fully asleep with general anesthesia rather than a local. That she gave me the opportunity because I just think it would be too bizarre for me to see it. And in the end, I'm glad I did that because it made the time go a lot quicker, and I had a nice little nap. They put the IV in my arm to get things going. And then it was time to go into the surgery, the operating room. One of the nurses rolled me in. It was about 6:45. I heard them say when I arrived, or 6:42, depending on whose watch you were looking at. What can I say? The anesthesiologist, they asked again, who are you, blah, blah, blah. Anesthesiologist said, okay, I'm putting something here to relax you a little bit. And then I'm also going to put now something in that you're going to feel your arm sting a little bit. It felt coolish, stingy-ish, whatever. And then they put the oxygen mask over my mouth and nose. And I didn't know it. I thought they were going to ask me to count backwards from 10. They didn't do it. Next thing I know, boom, I'm out. It's just that quick. Next thing I know, came out of the sleep, groggy for sure, and very, very dry mouth. I've never had such dry mouth. I still have it right now today. I've been having to drink water almost all day, and it must be something with the medication. So as you can see, wake up with the eye patch on, and the doctor had left already. They called my wife saying that he'd be ready in about 10-15 minutes. They gave me some grape juice, which was nice of them. I changed my clothes, and that's it. They told me that supposedly there's no gas bubble. She didn't put a gas bubble. Sometimes they do that to keep the integrity of the eye, to hold the retina back, but they said there's not. But what I see is something here at the bottom, which would be probably the top of my eye, a little blob with a little bubbly looking things, like the light coming through the patch into my opened eye, and I can see something there. It's like liquidy, like the kind of stuff you see in lava lamps, but like on its side. It's a little gooey kind of thing. So I'm curious what that is. I've heard about this before. I don't think it's a gas bubble per se. It just may be leftover air that they put in. But let's see. Maybe she did put a gas bubble in, but I have a follow-up appointment tomorrow at 8 a.m. And no pain so far. It feels a little dry now as the day progresses. It's now about 5 hours, 6 hours afterwards. The right eye, as I blink, feels a little bit scratchy, a little dry. Not big deal. I put a contact lens in this eye. I've tried to put glasses on because of the bulk of this. They don't fit. You can do it, but it won't work. So if you have contacts, old contacts left over, I put contact inside. I can still read stuff on my phone and watch TV as I relax and do my daily business. You just got to be a little careful because still you're a little groggy through the day, and you're only seeing half, so you got to be really careful not to bounce into stuff. but no pain whatsoever. I can watch TV, move around. You're not supposed to do anything strenuous, lift anything. No going on planes. If you had a glass bubble, blah, 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 blah. They'll tell you all that kind of good stuff. I was told overall the procedure took about 30 minutes. So I was probably asleep about an hour, I'm guessing. But again, 5:45 in, 6:45 you're going into the operating room, and 8 o'clock you're out. Just amazing. I thought, the stuff I used to read 2, 3, 4 when I first started getting floaters maybe 3 years ago and seeing these things, how much more involved these were. But it's touch wood, when they get this patch off me tomorrow, I'll see a little bit better on what's going on. So that's it for today. I don't really have much else to report because I can't see other than that little blob looks like the bottom of my eye, and a little bit scratchiness, and also very dry throat. Painless, easy, and if I get the good results that I'm expecting, I would probably, well, let's see. I'll wait till the end to see what my opinion is. But as far as the procedure is concerned, it seems very straightforward, very simple. Until the next time, see you then. Hi, everybody. It's the day after my operation in my right eye, the vitrectomy. It was a full vitrectomy. I keep hearing about floaters only vitrectomy. It's a full vitrectomy in my right eye. You can see, of course, you can see the patch is off. X marks the spot. There's still a bit of marker on my head that I can't get off. I'm sure that'll come off eventually. You can see my eye's a bit bloody, but it doesn't hurt. There's no pain. It doesn't feel scratchy or anything like that, except for the air bubble, and I'll talk about that in a moment. In my eye, I see it's the bottom, which it's flipped. It's really at the top of my eye, but it's at the bottom. Once I can see past that air bubble, I can see pretty clearly. I got my glasses off, so it's a little fuzzy, but I don't. I can see almost regularly. I'm just amazed at how no pain, no itchiness. I can see out of the right eye pretty well, except for the air bubble that's here. Again, took the patch off today. I've got two different drops that I have to take 4 times a day, and one that I have to take 1 time a day. They've got color-coded caps, and she's marked it down, so I'm pretty clear on what I need to do, and it's how many times every the day to ensure that to get no infection, etc. They do a variety of things. I don't really care. I'm just taking them. Again, so she figures that the air bubble will go away probably by this weekend. So that's about 4 days. And if this keeps up, after that, I should be in good shape as far as seeing is concerned. Now, talked about before, she did put the air bubble in. I clarified it wasn't a gas bubble. So if you ask, did you put a gas bubble? It's not gas. Gas is to help keep a torn retina in place, pushes that, and you would have to be laying down, and it pushes up. So I asked the wrong question, apparently. You make sure you have to ask the right question. Did you put any type of bubble in my eye? And she put, this was the people afterwards, wasn't her response, but I should have asked the nurses stuff, did you put any bubble in my eye? And they did. She did put an air bubble. The reason she puts an air bubble in is to help heal the sutures or the places where the tools went into the eye, and it helps with the healing process. I do have some specs, speck floaters. They're little dots like dust. I saw one when she took the patch off, and she was kind of, I probably should have said thank you for everything, but she kind of jumped like, your eyes are inflamed at the moment, so let's see what happens when the inflammation goes down. Okay, fair enough. And then later I'm seeing another 1 or 2 in the peripheral. Now, I'm hoping it's from inflammation. My sight here is telling me probably not. It's stuff I can, if it's inflammation, well, here's what I think it's not. When I move my eyes quickly, they move out of the way quickly. It's not like your typical floaters because I had gel in there. The vitreous was thicker. Now it's saline. I'm guessing they move easier, so I can't move them out of the way. But they're in the peripheral, and sometimes they come in. Way better than the junk garbage patch that I had in my eye before. So if this is like a 95% improvement, and we'll see after all this stuff fades away and the air bubble fades away to see what happens. Interesting enough, somebody wrote to me on Facebook that when they were sleeping at night, they could see it glowing. And yeah, I could, because it's reflecting any light that's coming into your eye, even with your eyes closed. I could um, see the air bubbles like a glow in the dark sticker or something. Because even though my room is dark, it's not completely dark. There is some moonlight or whatever, ambient lights, and it was reflecting off. It was like glowing. It was really odd to see. The other thing I was noticing is when I was working on an iPad and it was a black screen, or I was looking up at the ceiling at a black screen at night, I could see snow. Um, and I thought, well, is it the gauze and the patch? Probably not. It again, the eye is inflamed, so there's probably a lot of energy when she did everything, and it stimulated the retina or whatever. I'm not an expert in this, so I asked her about that. She said that'll go away. It's most like because your eye is inflamed. So okay, let's see what happens. Other than that, I'm so surprised at how easy, quick, um, touch wood, less complications than I thought I would have. Let's see at the end. But I'm thinking if this is going to be as clear as I think it's going to be, I probably would have done this, a year ago. The laser worked in the beginning, uh, but I wouldn't have gone through another laser treatment. I would have gone and got this vitrectomy to just get on with my life. I did notice one thing that was kind of funny. On the way home, my wife driving me home, and I saw this speck, and no matter where I moved my eyes, it was in the same place. And I was so conscious. Oh man, there's another floater. It's right there, but it's not moving when I move my eyes and move my head. What's going on here? And it was on the windshield. It was a speck on the windshield. I was so conscious of seeing if there was any floaters. I thought a speck on the windshield was was a floater in my eye. It turned out to not be the case, which was good. Once everything settles down and clears up, then I give my final verdict. But at the moment, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. A lot better than I expected after just one day after the surgery. Let's see. Fingers crossed that everything continues in the right direction. Hi, it's February 2nd. It's 7 days after my vitrectomy surgery, and I thought it was time for a good update to let you know how things are going. So let's back up. Last we discussed I was having a few specks in my eyes, I believe, in my eye, my right eye. On Thursday and Friday, the day after I think the last video was taken, I was seeing more and more of these specks. In my vision, they were floating from the top down. Now that means in actuality they were going from the bottom up, but I was seeing them coming from the top down, and that was a bit concerning for me. I called the doctor and thought said those are inflammation cells. I didn't know inflammation cells. I was like, what's inflammation cells? They're not. They are from the trauma or the cuts that happen, or not cuts, or the incisions that happen to the eye. Anything when you get a cut on your arm or anything in your skin, you get inflammation. So just like on your skin, when you get a inflammation from a cut, you'll get inflammation inside your eye. And that inflammation causes these inflammation cells to break off. Some were just specks, some were long, like a piece of string that had knots in it. They acted differently than your typical floaters because there's no vitreous in my eye now. If I moved my eye quickly left or right or up and down, they would move accordingly very quickly. So I could move them out of my vision very easily rather than a floater that kind of floats up and then gently comes back down, settles down into your vision. But I was noticing this on that Thursday. It's like the second day. And the third day, I was noticing I felt like more, called the doctor. They said, come in just in case to get a checkup, just to look at it, and also to calm your nerves to make sure you're not freaking out over the weekend. So I went into, they did a thorough exam, took the picture of my retina, checked everything, checked the vision, everything's fine. And lo and behold, the doctor came in. She saw the pictures of the retina, and she could point out where the inflammation cells were. And she said, these are normal. You probably don't remember me discussing this before because there's a lot of things going on, good enough. But when you have, surgery inside your eye, there's going to be inflammation, and those cells will come out, be a part of that inflammation, and they will float in your eye. The good news, she said, is they will eventually drain out. Now, I left thinking, well, how are they going to drain out? And I did a little research. So normally, your eye, especially the anterior chamber, is always creating a fluid from the ciliary body. Now, if you want more information on this, look on the internet. I'm just telling you what I know, so it helps, again, for illustrated purposes here. The ancillary body makes new aqueous humor, new fluid, which flows down into the anterior chamber and floats and drains out at the bottom of the eye. And the back of the eye, the posterior chamber, also will drain out the same drain. That's how the eye generates new fluid and gets rid of and circulates and gets rid of the old fluid. So that's how the eye creates new fluid and gets rid of fluid and continues to circulate however it works. And eventually, I was told those inflammation cells would drain out of my eye. Well, over the weekend, kept waiting. And just today, this morning when I got up, I only saw now, and I'm currently only seeing a few specks. Those long stringy ones, the multiple inflammation cells seem to be gone. I'm fairly cleared up. I think there's probably, if I were to count, 5 or 6 small specks, maybe less, maybe I'm seeing the same ones floating through it. But the moral of the story here is this is to be expected. It's not blood. If it's blood, I was told you would have a lot more cells inside your eyes. And here it is 7 days after surgery, and it's like a miracle. I woke up and most of them are gone. They apparently have drained out, which is great. So that's that was the concerning part over the last week. Oh my goodness. I just had this operation. Am I going to have these things floating in my eyes all the time? And luckily, no. So I'm very, very pleased with that, pleasantly surprised with that happening today when I woke up. Now let's also talk a little bit about, let's go back a bit on the day of the surgery and talk a little bit about the air bubble that the doctor put in. And you can see that kind of purple blue bubble, and like it's reflecting the light. You can see like little white dots there. It's reflecting the light of the photo that was taken. Now, that bubble has a variety, two main purposes, from my understanding. First of all, let me make sure you understand, this is not a gas bubble. It's an air bubble. If it was a gas bubble, it would be put in there to help with a detached retina and keep the retina in place. And you've probably read stories about where you have to lie face down to keep the air bubble or gas bubble up against the retina, and it would take a lot longer to dissipate. This is an air bubble. And the air bubble for a vitrectomy to get rid of floaters, there's 2 reasons. One is to help heal where the doctor's tools, the instruments came into my eye, where they put the incisions were made, and help to keep the pressure on that so that it would heal up nicely. I believe that's the first one. If I'm quoting her a little bit incorrectly, forgive me. But that's roughly, it's something to do with healing the incisions that were made from the 2 instruments or 3 instruments to go into the whites of your eye when they do the vitrectomy. And the second purpose is to keep a good pressure in the eye. So when you get a vitrectomy, your eye is filled with saline solution and some other liquids to keep the eye shape, but it does apparently lose pressure. So this bubble, from my understanding, helps keep the pressure back to normal or a little bit higher, so that your eye remains normal pressure. If you get less pressure, there could be all sorts of complications from that. What this could be, I don't know, but you could look that up. But the bubble will eventually shrink. And on Monday, which is, what is that, 3, 4, 5, that's about 6 days after my vitrectomy, I woke up and I had a little small dot that I could still see, a little purple bluish dot. And about an hour later, it was completely gone. And then after the bubble was gone, like clockwork, 2 days later, like I discussed, the inflammation cells mostly were gone. And so by day 7, I'm seeing pretty well now with this eye. I don't have any redness, as you can see. Yeah, pretty clear. Look at that. I'm just amazed at how quickly and nicely this is healing up. And I am really relieved that those inflammation cells are mostly gone. Everything the doctor had predicted is coming true. I worried a bit last week, but she's been great. I mean, she's done this enough and she's doing it properly. So far, overall, very happy with the results. Let's give it another week and see how things are going. I'm hoping by that time it should be pretty much healed, and I'm hoping that those inflammation, the few that are left, the inflammation cells are left, are gone, and I'm back and ready to go. And then until, I'm guessing, cataract surgery at some point in time. Will that be 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? Let's see, and I'll make another video about that. That's all for now. I will come back if something happens abnormally, of course, check in, but if not, probably a week from now to give, I think, what will be the final report for our update about the results of this vitrectomy. Hi again. It's been 2 weeks since I've had my vitrectomy in my right eye, and things are looking, literally and figuratively, really good. Can I say that? I'll say it. Okay. But there's one small problem, which I'll get into in a moment, that I hope will go away. I gave a last update. I believe I was talking about the inflammation cells coming down in my eye. Those have almost all gone away. I do see some specks once in a while. Comes up once in a blue moon. They move quite quickly, but they're out of sight, out of mind. So that's great. Had an appointment, follow-up appointment with my doctor today. Everything's looking fine. No issues with my eye. She can still see some inflammation. In fact, I can see something down in the bottom right corner sometimes, kind of puffs up a little bit once in a while. I don't know what it is. I think that's what she was referring to. No big deal. Nothing really to write home about. You can see my eye is, clear. No redness, or maybe just a little bit you can see, but all cleared up. My vision is fine. I wear glasses normally, but when I take the video, I just want to make sure you guys can see my eyes, so I take them off. So the vision's fine. I'm now down to 1 drop of something with the gray cap. And if you can see it, it's going to be backwards. It's not going to come in, but it's called Perlenza. And then 2 drops of Pred Forte a day. So what's the issue? It's small, but it's something that you should consider if you're thinking about getting a vitrectomy. I do have a floater. Probably it's not the typical vitreous floater that was in my eye before, but probably one of the inflammation cells that is, I can see in the corner, left corner, almost center of my eye, in the right eye. It's around here. It's not, I can't see it when I'm just talking straightforward. Matter of fact, I can't hardly see it at all outside, which is amazing. Used to be able to see floaters when I'm outside. But when I'm inside, I can see it. If I turn my eye far enough to the right, it peeks out a little bit and then it goes back. Or especially if I do a quick out and left, it'll come out and it'll float back and go out of the vision, my vision. If I'm laying down on my right side, it will float into place. Or if I'm laying back and my eyes are closed and there's enough light, I can see a little bit of a shadow from that floater. I asked the doctor could she see it? She couldn't see it. I asked her what could it be, and she says, well, we don't take out all the vitreous out of the eye. We take out as much as we can. It's 99%, 99.9%, and some remains on the lens of the eye. And an inflammation cell could have gotten trapped or stuck to that bit of vitreous. And again, it's interesting because, when I looked all the way to the right slowly, it doesn't pop out. I really have to force it to come out. So maybe it's stuck on something. I asked her, okay, that's a good speculation. Let's see what happens. But what do you think? Will it go away? She said, probably not. Who knows? So people are asking me how I'm feeling about this, and am I happy? Yes, absolutely, very happy that I've done this vitrectomy. Let's see that there's no complications after the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks going forward. Would I do it again? Yes. This little floater is out of my sight most of the time, but it comes in. She will not do a YAG laser to zap it. It's too close to the lens, number one. I asked her generally if there were any residual floaters in the eye, would she zap them with the YAG laser? She said there's no need to. If they're floating around, they'll eventually drain out of the eye, so no need to take on that risk. So overall, let's see what happens. I'm not going to report it unless it goes away in the next 2 weeks. I'll come back in 2 weeks after my next appointment to give you an update on whether this little guy, frustrating little guy that pops out once in a while, is still there or not. Just what a shame with all that, that happened, all the trauma that goes to the eye and everything that you do, you're hoping for, 100%, and I'm, 98%. First world problems for sure, could have bigger problems. I also want to make sure you're aware of this because if you're thinking about doing a vitrectomy, I don't want to scare anybody, but what would happen if that, inflammation cell got caught in your vision or right in the front of your vision? What would happen then? I guess you'd have to do another vitrectomy. I'll have to ask her the next time I go back. But that would be my only concern. And I'm thinking about if I'm going to do vitrectomy in my left eye eventually, do I want to do it? Because if there's a chance an inflammation cell can get trapped on the vitreous in my left eye and it's in my vision, that'd probably drive me more bananas. So I'm hoping that this little guy in the corner that pops out once in a while, will eventually go away. And I'll see what happens and make a decision from there. If it's still there after months, I might not do the left eye at all until I can see that it actually goes away. Maybe there's something that happens with the inflammation cells and it starts to dissolve after a while, like a washing, the washing of the saline in your eye and whatever else your eye is producing. Let's cross my fingers. Let's cross our fingers and hope that's the case. If not, again, overall, very, very happy. I am just ecstatic at how quickly this is all healed up and how quickly I'm back up and running with things. So that's all. I will come back if this thing disappears within the next 2 weeks or a 2 weeks up general update. Thanks. Hello, fellow floater sufferers. It's March 5th. This is I think my last update. I hope it's my last update regarding my my vitrectomy, the surgery to remove the vitreous out of my eye to help clear all the floaters out. And I am very, very, very happy with the results. In the beginning, after the surgery, with seeing inflammation cells and different things happening throughout the process, which I've already outlined in this video, made me kind of worried that, maybe I made a bad decision. But overall, I'm very happy with the results. I used to look at videos on the internet when I first started having floaters, and people would have the patch over their eye for a long time or complications, or it would take 2 or 3 months to resolve itself. But with the technology today, I'm feeling that vitrectomy is becoming a good option for most people to get rid of their floaters. And I've just been ecstatic and how smooth this process has been and how clear my sight is. And bottom line is, I don't have hardly any specks, inflammation cells, floaters, whatever you're going to call it, anything to worry about. Up to about probably since about a week before, maybe 5 days before today, and up until now, uh, I have it's clear, except for an occasional little speck that will float down, kind of in my vision. It's a little stubborn, but it eventually goes away and goes down. And I guess it's going up, since you see the opposite of what it in your eye of what you see. It's flipped, right? So that's still happening, and I see it when I look at the blue sky or a white background, especially on TV with a very bright black, white, or just a single color background. Um, I can see it once in a while, but not to the point where I go, God, what's happening? What's going on? Because also eventually it slowly fades away and goes out of the way. I'm in the office, fluorescent lights, look at the white wall, and once in a while I can see it. So it's not bad. I mean, I'll take this any day over the floaters and the garbage and the cobwebs that I had floating in my eyes. So what's the moral of the story here? If you're thinking about having the operation or have had the operation and you haven't hit the month marker yet, and you see some things going on your eyes, especially what you think are floaters or like those stringy things that I saw, or the specks, call your doctor if you want to. I would double check it just to make sure. And if your doctor says everything's fine, you don't have to come in. But if you want to, go ahead. Just if you feel like it gives you some comfort, go in, get it checked. But rest assured, at least in my situation, they were inflammation cells. And give yourself some time. Give yourself a little patience, because you may want to have clear vision day one. But it's your eye. You've just got a major surgery. It may seem like you have no pain after a couple of days, no scratchiness. You're going, what's going on? Just give yourself some time. Give yourself a month. And if you're in maybe you're a little ahead of the curve than I am, or behind, maybe it takes a little bit longer. But if you got a good doctor and they'll come in and see you, take a look, just calm yourself down, and you'll, I think, eventually, as everything goes okay, like me, being fortunate enough to have no issues, it should resolve itself. I guess the big thing, I wasn't ready or expecting so many inflammation cells, thinking that I had done this for nothing. So I think in the last video, the last update that I gave, I said there was a floater stuck in the corner of my eye, and if I looked to the right quickly, it would pop out and pop back in. That went away. Completely went away. I don't remember when it went away, but I don't think it was that long. It might have only been a couple days after I noticed that. There was some other things that I had a few scares. One was I was doing a road trip with my wife, about 5-hour trip up north to go to the Four Corners, and my eyes were getting tired. I don't know if that was contributing to it, but suddenly it just seemed like spider web, cobwebs were just shooting out of this corner of my eye and up. And I was driving. I had to pull into a restaurant and give myself a break. It just started a little bit like a little stream, and then it just got worse and worse. Did something pop? A blood vessel pop? Maybe it was the irritation. The inflammation area had grown and it was leaking these inflammation cells. They didn't blind me or anything, but it just felt like I was seeing cobwebs being shot out of the corner of my eye. That was scary. 30 minutes later, it slowed down, and then about an hour later, all cleared up. I didn't see any residual from that a lot, except that as I was driving back the next day, I did have one, like this floater, or maybe inflammation cells, coming down. It would just come down and just sit right in the middle of my vision. I got really depressed. I thought, uh-oh, did it stick to my lens? Is it sticking there with the vitreous? I don't know what would cause that thing just to stop in the middle, but a day or two later, gone. So that concern was completely eliminated. I didn't call the doctor because I thought, well, I'll wait a couple days, and sure enough, it cleared up. So my last checkup with the doctor, Dr. Ross, was about 10 days ago. I have a new job now, and it's been extremely busy, and I'm so happy I did this before my job started, because I'm back. We're back in the office now. I'm working in a very white environment. This floater's in my right eye and my left eye. would have driven me crazy. But anyway, um, I saw the doctor. No issues, nothing to speak of. Um, the She said the next appointment would be in 6 months, and they would be looking to do a treatment or a test to see if I'm having any cataract forming. I'm hoping I get another year or two just to get the most mileage out of this. But they have a special test. I forgot what it's called. And if there is cataract forming, they can refer me to a doctor that respects vitrectomies for floaters as well. It will take that test and work with it to help take out the cataract, and I'll get an artificial lens put in place. So the medication, I'm still using the same drops, but only one a day, and I was supposed to do them for 2 weeks from 10 days ago. That means until about this Wednesday, I got about 4 or 5 days to do this. It's only one drop of each. It's the one with the gray cap, and it's called Prolenza. Maybe you can see it, maybe not. Okay, anyway. And then there's Predafort, or Prêt-à-Forte if it's French. One drop each, once a day, and that's it. So I've been doing that for a week and a half, and I got another half a week to go, and then I'm done with medication. I'll probably try to wear contacts, see how that works. I like wearing contacts, and I do have glasses. I've taken them off for this video so you can see how my eye has healed. I mean, there's no redness at all. I'm just so impressed. And speaking of my vision, there's one thing I wanted to point out is that my vision, my prescription with my glasses hasn't changed whatsoever. I can still use the glasses I've used before. I assume the contacts will be the same way, but no change in my vision after the surgery, at least up until now. No change. I do want to thank Dr. Ross and staff for an excellent job that they did and their patience with me and all the questions I had throughout this procedure. I mean, it's your eyes, right? You something's going on, you're freaking out. I'm hoping that this video will help people if they do decide to do the vitrectomy. They're going to have the same questions I did, and it'll help give them some comfort that this is probably normal. Again, if you feel something's going on, I'd check with the doctor just in case. Give them a call, or if you're wanting to do the surgery, helps give you some insights on what's the possibility. Your mileage may vary, as they say. So this is most likely my last update on this very long video, and I hope it wasn't too long, but I hope it was informative enough. I want to make sure all the information was in there without overwhelming you. And the next meeting I will have, again, is 6 months' time, and if the cataract does form, or when it forms, probably not a matter of if, but when, I will put a link in the description in here in YouTube, or add a card or what have you, to make sure you can see what happens in that journey. And most likely it's pretty routine. I mean, you could probably find a ton of videos on cataract, but I thought it would be good to show. So from lasers that I started off with, to vitrectomy, and then finally to the cataract surgery, to give you the full lifespan of these floaters and what it's in the impact on your eye long term. People are asking me if I would do the left eye. At this point, I don't think so. Let's see. The right eye is my dominant eye. My left eye has floaters, but it was not as severe as the right. And definitely I do get a bit annoyed during the day, especially in the office with white light and white walls and fluorescent light. And it does kind of, get in my way. But with my right eye being clear, at this point, I'm going to wait. Maybe someday I'll have the luxury, maybe a year from now, unless it gets worse, I'll do it again. But the risk, it's a surgery in your eye, and there are risks, or it's not no risk. I think it's lower risk than it used to be, but it's your eye. I may forgo that unless it becomes really worse and I need to do something. And who knows, maybe a natural PVD happens and the floaters will start to go away because and who knows, I mean, what will happen. So let's see. In summary, I'm just amazed at, I can't say it enough, probably said this maybe 10 times in this video, how smooth this process went. I was thinking it was going to be terrible, a long procedure, months and months to heal. And here I am, not quite even a month after surgery. And the worst thing I have is this little speck. And it might not be the same one, but a speck coming in from time to time. I think it's those inflammation cells. It's a little stubborn guy. He comes in and goes away. Maybe it's guys or gals or who knows, but coming in once in a while. Barely notice it unless you're in a bright room or a white background. And I'm hoping and I'm thinking that this will eventually resolve itself in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, eventually. If something goes for the worst, fingers crossed it doesn't, I will make another video and make sure that's linked in here, that something's gone downhill. But I think at the moment I'm expecting my eye to only get better. So that's it for now. Thanks for joining me on this journey. I hope it was helpful, and it was a little bit long, but I wanted to be informative. And I wish you the best of luck if you decide to do the surgery, and best of luck to make the right decision for you. I think you need to talk to your doctor, but I hope it gives you some insight and some comfort on what a successful vitrectomy can be. Thank you.